Okay, so we are excited today for our success stories to have two faculty who are actively using ADAPT in their courses. And so we're going to start with, and I'm going to let you both introduce yourselves more thoroughly than I am, obviously. But we're going to start with Kim Ernstmeyer. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
Who is going to talk about her work with ADAPT and nursing. So take it away, Kim.
Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks for inviting me today. I'm going to go very quickly, but as Jennifer mentioned, these slides are available, and then you can follow along and adapt. I'm going to just show some screenshots of some things, questions and things we've already developed. So just a little, I want to just briefly mention OpenRN. That was where we started. We're up to 9 OER textbooks now for nursing, over 65 contributors and 300 national reviewers. And as we were creating these textbooks, you know, the NCLEX Next Generation came on the scene, and we said we'd really like to be able to create some of those new case studies, as well as some of the other new next generation style items. And we just weren't capable to create that. We didn't have the capabilities of create those types of questions using H5P, which is what we were using for all the other learning assessments within our textbooks. So I reached out to Delmar. I said, is this possible? Can we do this within ADAPT? And thankfully he said yes. So our goal is truly with these ADAPT customized questions is to prepare nursing students for the NCLEX Next Generation exam. And Eric has kindly customized the software, so we are able to create every type of next generation style question with accessibility requirements in mind. So I'll talk about that in a few minutes here, but a few of the next generation style questions had drag and drop. And as we know that those don't meet accessibility requirements, but we are able to tweak the question and still maintain the look. It just doesn't have that drag and drop feature to it. So we're already up to over 20 of the next generation style case studies in the publicly shared next generation folder out in ADAPT. Those case studies are CC BY license, so you are freely available. They're freely available for you to download, reuse, or remix in your own personal ADAPT account. And as with all the other ADAPT questions, they integrate with your LMS, so you're able to have gradebook pass back with those. A second piece of our project is, in addition to those full assignments, each assignment is a case study with the 6 questions. We also were able to work with Delmar's team in creating what's strictly called formative assessments. So it's one question per assignment, and we link to those out of our OpenRN textbooks so that each chapter will have at least one of these next generation style nursing questions that's hosted in ADAPT. And students don't have to sign in. They can just click on the hyperlink. It takes them right to the question and they can practice it. And we've already received a lot of great feedback on bow tie questions and other questions that we've incorporated into the textbooks that way. So I want to just share some information about the case study. So for those of you that are involved in nursing, you know that the next generation style questions have tabbed data similar to an electronic medical record, and each tab contains information like patient information, history and physical, progress notes, vital signs, labs, medical administration records, handoff reports, and ADAPT is able to do that in their case notes. In addition to that tab data, then there's 6 next generation style item types per case study. And we have those within each ADAPT assignment. Because we are providing these as formative type learning activities to students, meaning feedback is provided to them, in the questions and case studies we've created, we provide an incorrect and correct and incorrect feedback that contain links back to OpenRN materials where the student can review any areas of weakness that they find as they take these practice questions, basically. So here's a screenshot of what a case study looks like. So we, because there's so much information to share, we've split it into 2 areas on the screen, and our real estate, as Eric says, is very limited. So over here on the left, you'll see the different patient tabs the tabbed information that's available to see. And by clicking on this expanded icon here, that will expand, and I'll show you that in a second. And then on the right side, at the same time, students see the question. So this is an example where there's 3 choices that they can select. This is a next generation style question. So when they click on that little expand icon, this is now what the left side of the screen looks like. So they can click on each of the tabbed areas and read the full, information out there. And the other exciting piece about that for nursing faculty that are listening is it is possible to change what is displayed as the student goes through each question. So similar to an unfolding case study, they might see some of these initial progress notes when they answer the first question, but then as the case study unfolds, there may be additional labs or additional progress notes, and you're able to point to which one of those notes you want the student to be able to access for each question. So that's how we're able to incorporate the unfolding case studies. In the same way, they can click on the expand icon on the right side and expand the look of the question. And this is really important with the bow tie questions because there's so much information in those, and I'll show you those here next. These are the different types of next generation style questions that have been customized within the ADAPT platform. You'll see that they match the next generation style questions currently included on the NCLEX. The only difference, as I mentioned earlier, is these drop downs have been converted where it's not actually drag and drop, they're drop down questions. So students click instead of drag and dropping. So here's an example of a bow tie question. And this was, as I mentioned, was just released in the April NCLEX exam. It's been very difficult for faculty and students to find practice bow tie questions with the current software that's out there, for example, ExamSoft. But ADAPT was able to create this for us. Eric, I should say, was able to create this in ADAPT. So a bow tie question, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, students read some basic information. They may also have tab data, like I just demonstrated for the case study. And then they have 3 columns of information. They have to select what condition is most likely occurring with the patient, 2 actions that they're going to take, and then 2 things they're going to monitor to determine if those actions are effective or not. So instead of dragging and dropping these answers up into these boxes like what they do on the NCLEX, they simply click on it. And so here's an example where they click on the answers. They're able to change what they click on until they actually submit the question if they'd like. And you can see where it self-populates up into those boxes after they click on the actions that they're going to take and the parameters they're going to monitor. Here's the feedback that they receive. Then you can see the green check marks are correct, either correctly selected answers or correctly not selected answers. And where that becomes important is with this new next generation NCLEX, partial credit is applied for all of these questions. So if they correctly select an answer, they get 1 point for that. But if they incorrect something, then a point is subtracted. And all that is pre-programmed within the ADAPT questions. And then underneath here, you can see where the feedback is provided. And we actually have hyperlinks out to content in our textbooks where students can review that material. So if you're interested in getting started, if you haven't done so already, request your personal account within ADAPT. And then when you log in, you can click on the public courses up in the dashboard in the top right, and you can click and search for NextGen RN, and you'll see all of the publicly available questions and case studies that have been uploaded. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, over 20 full case studies have already been created by various faculty from the 16 technical colleges in Wisconsin, and more are created every day and shared, and those all have CC by licensing, so you're free to use them. Our instructional technologist also created this nursing tutorial website that walks you through how you can create each type of question and the case notes that we just walked through. So that's a nice website to use as a resource. If you want to see the questions that we've linked to each chapter in 3 textbooks so far within the OpenRN series, here are 3 of the textbooks that they're included in: Advanced Skills, the 2nd edition of Nursing Pharmacology, and the upcoming release of Nursing Skills 2nd edition. And we'll continue to add more and more of these style questions as time permits. If you have any questions about OpenRN in particular, you can go to our website, www.cbtc.edu/OpenRN. You're welcome to sign up to receive quarterly grant updates. We have 3 quarters left of our original OpenRN grant and another year left of the Next Gen project. So I'm not sure if there's time for questions now or if we should go on to the next presentation, Jennifer, but you can let me know your preference on that.
I'm Hanku. I have a question to Kim. You mentioned about the bow tie question. So is it built in the adapt system or you guys made it up? I'm just wondering.
The actual case studies, you mean?
Yeah, you mentioned about bow tie scoring and feedback system.
Yes, so the bow tie, the structure of the bow tie is available to select as a question choice, but we actually create, the faculty who teach the course created the bow ties, based on information we've received from, NCLEX, NCSBN about the next generation NCLEX.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never seen those types of questions before. So
Oh.
I'm just wondering, is it a built-in system or like somebody else create individually? So.
Oh, so yeah, it's a new style of question that when nurses take their license, their national board exam to receive their registered nurse license, that's a new type of question that they're seeing on their board exam that started in April.
It could be applied to different discipline. That's why.
It's a nice, I feel like it's a really nice way to quickly assess critical thinking, whatever you put in the middle in terms of, what condition or whatever, your topic is, and then applying these different things. It's a great way to get beyond that, memorization knowledge and regurgitation. And they actually have to apply to come up with these answers.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should go ahead and plan to move into our next session. I just want to say thank you again to Christina and Kim. Wonderful presentations as always. And we appreciate you sharing with everybody here today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.